It's never told me it's being recorded before. Oh, that's a
That must be a new thing because I've noticed that too.
yeah, something's happening. Okay, interesting. All right, I am going to call to order the meeting of the Ad hoc Grant Search Committee for May 26, 2021. We are still meeting via Zoom, although that's going to change very soon, I think, and we'll be able to meet in person pretty soon. And we have present from the committee right now, Diana Fetterman and myself. Kate Swistek-Works will be joining us. And then we have our invited guests representing the Council on Aging. So Joan Linan, Director, Janet Kane and Nancy Ruscio from the board of the COA. And just to start for a second, even though you all weren't involved with this, I just wanted for the record that we were finally able to submit the Shared Streets and Spaces grant that is going to be for a small stretch between High Street and Pomeroy Meadow Road, installing a sidewalk right along in front of the cemetery. We had a lot of support letters for it. We worked with Randall from the Highway Department and Ian from the Police Department, as well as this technical assistance company called Standec, to really turn this around in 5 days' time. I've never had such luck to be able to do that. It was great. They did some drawings and things that I think satisfied things. And unfortunately, as I went to put it in by the deadline, I got it all in and it bounced back at me. It had an error message because the state website crashed on Friday because everybody was trying to put in their applications, and it's such a popular one that many towns were trying to do the same thing at the same time, so it crashed. So we couldn't actually submit it by the close of business on Friday. I emailed the state DOT and they said, oops, they realized that they had crashed. They weren't sure when their IT guys were going to put it back up, but to keep on trying over the weekend. So long story short, I did try several times and finally got it through Sunday night at about 10:30 and got an acknowledgement letter. So we know that our application was successful, at least being submitted. It's for $90,000 and we will know about it by the end of June. So at least our hat is in the ring on that. So
good job, Chris.
Yeah, well, these things are not a given in terms of being able to submit these grants. Some grants, like Diana, we've been able to go in and save a portion and then go back in when you feel like it. You can work on them over a week's time. This one, you had to do the entire thing in one setting. So
it's kind of old school, I think.
It is, yeah, kind of more than annoying to say the least. So, okay, well, I don't see any other people here as open time for the public. So we're just going to jump right into this Highland Valley Elder Services grant possibility for the Council on Aging. And I'm going to see if I can share what we have available here. Oh, yeah. Oh, let's see if this works. No, that didn't work. All right, let me try that again. Hold on.
We see it.
You see the grant document? Yeah?
Yes, yes.
Well, a portion of it anyway.
A portion of it, yeah. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger here. What's going on? Come on. All righty, I gotta get the first page of it. Would be nice. No, wrong one. Hold on. Come on. I'm sorry. Oh, I love these shared documents sometimes.
Chris, I have it if you want me to share it.
Yeah, I think I've got it right here. It's just that this one is getting in the way. I'm going to kill this one right here. I don't want to. Come on up here. It's just taking up space. Okay. There we go. There we are. And then if I can go back to page 1 would be nice. No, come on. You're just being obnoxious. We'll do it the old school way. Okay. Because we're really at the very beginning here. Come on. Come on here. Okay. So I guess So what I know that Kate has done, and you all have probably helped in on this, is just doing some basic research on memory cafes where we last left this. That was the main idea, was to be able to put in a grant related to establishing some sort of a memory cafe program at the Council on Aging. So, oh, all right, you are just obnoxious here. I'm gonna get rid of you. Hold on. Thank you. Let's see. This. One second. Come on. Wait. Just doesn't want to give me a full screen for some.
Summary sounds good.
Yeah, I guess we'll start there. Was that the first question, as far as I know,
Yes.
Janet?
Number
your
one,
phone?
yeah.
All right. So can we just confirm, Joan, this is definitely going to be a Southampton, Westhampton joint venture?
Yes, I just got off the phone with Kat from Huntington. And I just bluntly said, I think it's, more likely that we'll get it if we do it separately, and that maybe later down the road, if either of us get it, that we could visit each other's, because she did a lot of groundwork. But I think because we're so far apart, I think that Westhampton, we have a better shot when Westhampton doesn't have a building, so we can host it. So I think Caitlin put in there somewhere about we've already started working with Huntington as well. So she did a good job tying Huntington into it. We do have to decide if it's going to be weekly. I think it's too often. Monthly may not be often enough, so maybe bi-weekly. Originally, I thought monthly would be enough to start. I don't know. What does anybody have any ideas about it? I know many of you aren't even familiar with the concept of it, but and I'm not sure about population and if we'll be able to, get 10 or 12 people together for this kind of a program.
I think monthly is probably a good starting point, and then if we can adjust it to.
All right, so we'll go back to monthly.
What's anybody else think? Nancy, do you have any thoughts on that? I know you're.
Totally see if it.
So what?
You're breaking up, Nancy. Sorry.
Sorry, I'm at work.
Yeah, that's better.
That's better.
Yeah. So definitely, I would say monthly to start with, and to build the community.
Okay. All right.
I mean, if they can add something to it, if we have any more characters left, stating that with the objective to making it on a more frequent basis, or twice a month, or as the program grows. But Joan, I'm not sure you answered Chris's question. Chris's question was more about is Westhampton on board?
Yes, Westhampton's definitely on board.
Okay.
And it would be the
Now, do we have
transportation piece.
Would we have?
And
Hang on. Would we have some sort of a letter or email from them confirming that? Because we might need that
Amy,
as an attachment.
I can do that, sure. Should you want me to include that with the grant?
Well, I think it might be good to have as an attachment. I mean, if they allow attachments. I'm just gonna highlight. Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna highlight. Well, I should have been in editing mode. I'm not. Oh my goodness. Oh well, that's okay. Let Kate
I have
here's
one
me.
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, where it says that participants with personal needs must be accompanied by a caregiver, how will you decide that, or who will decide that?
Actually, everybody should have a caretaker. Everyone who comes, it's a paired situation. It's a client or a senior with impairment, and they're either caregiver, spouse, guardian for the day. But that's how the Med Cafe is set up. It's not a drop off. It's not a daycare. It's a
That's what I was
paired
thinking.
situation where
But somewhere
whoever they come with,
that's made clear.
they
so-
can't come alone. They can't come alone.
What, Diana, Diana,
I
what were
would
you?
just said, is that made clear somewhere? That wasn't clear in the very first paragraph I read, but
Where attendees
it just says,
and caregivers
And
and their caregivers.
yeah,
Well, I think that
it just
sentence,
says participants with personal care needs. What if somebody said, I don't have personal care needs, and so they wouldn't necessarily, I don't know.
So Nancy, did you have a suggestion on how to reword that sentence?
yeah, take away that sentence.
Just say participants must be accompanied by a caregiver.
Must be
Well,
accompanied.
I feel like maybe not, I'm not sure how to wordsmith it, but participants will,
I think must be accompanied by a caregiver says it
But-
really.
but it does, but if we could make it sound like the whole point is to have the caregiver go there so that they are support and they can learn how to interact with someone who has dementia. You're going to get all these benefits from being there with your loved one,
correct.
right?
Well said. So participant and their caregiver,
Yeah,
accompanied by their caregiver.
It said the participants must be accompanied by it, and then
Or maybe
Just
just
take-
that very first sentence where it says where attendees can share and receive, could just say where participants and their caregivers can share and receive. I don't know.
Well, everybody's an attendee then, so
Right.
I think the
We've opened a can of
attendee.
worms here.
No, I think just
no, I
the
don't think you
personal
have.
care
If you
needs
look-
can come
Yeah.
out.
And if you look at the next sentence, after participants with personal care needs must be accompanied, if we got rid of that, it says this monthly program welcomes individuals' experiences, all different kinds, as well as their caregivers.
True, yeah. Okay,
Okay, so we get rid of that whole sentence. It's
Sure.
going. Okay, good. All right. I'm gonna scroll down here a little bit. Okay, so relaxed and casual atmosphere. Memory cafes can also link people with resources and vendors. Okay. So we could add a sentence in here. I'm just gonna put a note here. We can make that a better sentence. As the interest grows, we would consider expanding this to twice a month or something like that.
right, or more frequent, maybe not even define it, but
Right.
greater frequency or.
Yeah, would expand to greater frequency. That's better. Good. Come on, type would be good. Well, I'll type it later. Yeah. Okay. All right. People that cannot attend can take place via Zoom. Is that
That's true.
going to be the idea? Yeah. Okay. I mean, this, I guess I don't want to have it sound that it's just so general. We want to be sure that it's very specific to what you're going to do. So, this is fine if this is what we're doing.
It's a lot more developed than I would normally done, but I think this is going to be a catch. I think they're going to look at this and say, wow, this is well thought out and there's a lot involved with it. I think she did a great job.
But is it specific enough? Is that your question, Chris?
Well, I think this is just the summary.
Right,
So
right.
as we get down to, I just want to double check if this will tell us roughly characters here. Just a second, just see if we're in the ballpark here.
Back up. Yeah, back up. Oop, oop, oop.
Last. I can't win today.
Your
I'm sorry.
cursor's not helping you.
I know, it's just being.
You're
Sorry,
gonna put it
guys.
in black, or what are you?
No,
trying-
no, she's gonna count the letters,
I wanted
the characters
I
and
wanted
see.
to count the.
You can count, the computer will count them for you?
We'll
Yes,
see in a
they
minute.
will. I just want to highlight it if it will do this.
Tools, okay. That's a word
It's a
count.
word
Is that the
count.
same as?
My character
Yeah.
count. So I'm 2136. So no. Yeah, 2136 or a little bit over.
We have to get rid of 136.
Yeah, so we'll have to do a little tinkering. That's why this is what I'm saying is that this can still, be tinkered with. We know we've got to cut down just a little bit and make this more precise. I don't think it's useful to do that right now as a group. We can work on that
Right.
later. Let's keep moving.
Okay,
All right.
good.
So question 2, who are your community partners? Local VNAs and rehab provider. Okay.
Mercy Life would like to be included in that. That's Nancy's place.
Yeah, we're a rehab provider. I think that works, right?
So down below
So
where it says partners or list, in the list or in the paragraph, Nancy and Joan?
Oh, okay. There's a list below, so that's fine.
Yep.
Okay, that's fine.
Want to add to the partners, Nancy? Is that okay?
Yeah, but I would think there's more than just Mercy Life, no?
Besides the ones that are listed here, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, definitely put us in, for sure. We're on board. I've got
All right, so I'm gonna put Mercy Life.
recreation and our enrollment folks and and rehab people.
I mean, I would think somebody from Cooley Dickinson would be, but we'd have to have that conversation.
So Mercy Life, did I miss somebody else?
I was
I'm
just
sorry.
saying, I would think somebody from Cooley would wanna, like a Cooley Dickinson.
Do they have a VNA or what do they?
Oh, yeah, hospice VNA, but I'm gonna text somebody right now. It may be, if they don't get back to me, then I'll.
I'll put a note, I'm just gonna put a CDH here. Now, what about where Reedy works?
Holyoke, yeah. I guess that's up to Rini to,
Yeah,
what's the
okay,
name of
so
Rini's place,
White-
Nancy?
Holyoke,
Holyoke,
Holyoke Hospice and VNA
Okay,
is,
216.
so what is our expectation of these partners?
So when we start planning the sessions, we can reach out to Nancy or whoever, and they already have programming at their facilities. So maybe some of the entertainment, maybe some of the, OT educational pieces, caregiver support, whatever they've already utilized or a speaker they've utilized, they can share with us to add to our program.
now, didn't Kate put in Armbrook the other day?
I would think so. They'd be a great resource. Is this
Are they
for resources?
Partners.
Partners is,
Well,
yeah, that's different. than-
yeah, we'll go back to the narrative in a second, but Armbrook, is it Armbrook, what, senior living or something?
It's assisted
Oh.
living.
Assisted living?
Yeah,
And possibly, their folks can leave the building when everything opens up. They might be some participants.
Could be. I mean, but I know Kate was talking about, having some of the vendors that they've had come down there
Right.
could possibly help us here, but we'll get to that in a
Right.
second. So,
right.
So if we go back to the narrative for a minute, so the local VNAs and rehab providers are committed to providing fitness classes, wellness activities, and educational classes. Who are your partners? Share how you will demonstrate the collaboration component. Okay. Council on Aging and Highland Valley will help to identify potential candidates. So, okay, so here's a question. If we're applying to Highland Valley for the grant, how do they really get involved in helping us identify who should attend?
So they do
Are
have
they
a
both?
referral service. Highland Valley has a referral service, so possibly about, I don't know that that's a, I mean, I'd like to think we're partnering with them because they're like our umbrella. You know, they're the ones that support us.
Yeah, I guess I'm just a little confused if we're a partner, but we're also their applicant.
Yeah.
So I guess that was a little
Yeah,
unclear to me.
yeah, that might not flow very well. It should be the opposite. Yeah, I wouldn't include them right at this point. But if we get the grant and if we do get this off the, you know, our marketing, etc., I mean, Highland will be a good partner after, hopefully we get it
Sure.
going.
Right, yeah, but we gotta, yeah, okay. So, all right, so if there is a detailed inventory of stakeholders, I don't know if this was Kate's comment or what this was here.
I
Okay,
thought
That might
that
have
was
been
like,
part of the grant.
yeah, I think it's part of the grant. It's just describing how you should answer it.
yeah, okay.
So that's why I was
uh,
wondering,
get
I
up.
mean, West Hampton.
Yeah, definitely
Right,
West
so
Hampton.
what, yep, go ahead. What would West Hampton do for us?
Well, they're going to be
Well, they-
providing
So-
some of their clients. Kat from Huntington asked about our population. I'm not sure if that's somewhere in the grant where we have to put our senior population,
Yes.
but she
it's
said
listed-
West Hampton had 630 seniors.
it's
so
listed
I don't
in
know
here, I think it's listed in here, Joan. When I read through it before, I thought I saw some numbers from 2018. So they're a little
Okay.
outdated, but
But again, you know, we're only looking for those that have this particular memory issue.
well, the first
right?
one is
So-
about the population over 60, Chris. Then from that
Okay,
population,
we're
we
not
have
there,
to, I don't know how we define, as I said, I think last week, I don't know if there's an average percentage that people use or not. I don't know.
Yeah, okay, well,
No,
we're not there
we're not.
yet, so let's keep on this, so we know, so we want to know, it said here, let's just be clear, are committed to providing classes, wellness activities, and this, so the Council on Aging will help to identify, so the Council on Aging in both towns, right?
Yes. So you can get rid of that other, yeah.
Okay. We'll have to identify potential candidates. Okay, that's fine. So West Hampton COA, do they have any other things that they said they would help provide, such as musicians or artists or anybody?
Yes, I'm sure they do have musicians, entertainers, lists of people, and yes, they would gladly share that with us.
Okay, I
And
think
if you
we
want
need
it
that-
in writing, I can get that from Amy.
Yes, we should get that in writing.
Yeah.
I don't want to commit them to something and then they don't follow through and then we have to turn the grant back in.
Right. Have they done a memory cafe before in West Hampton? No,
The
this is new.
closest one is
Okay.
South Hadley, I heard. And I
Yeah,
have not
okay.
spoken
So-
with them yet.
Will provide suggested, oh, what are you doing here? I give up. Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, I'll know my own mess here that I'm making, sorry. I don't know why it's deciding to edit all of a sudden. Will provide suggested music or other, I don't know, what do you think, music for entertainers?
Their forms of entertainment or,
Educational speakers, presenters.
is that what this is about from a memory cafe, is about educational speakers? I don't know if we're talking about folks with memory issues.
A combination, right? So you've got some for the caregiver as well, right?
Right,
So,
okay.
Right.
anyway, I'll fix my edits later. I know what I'm making for a mess here. It's just as I hate working right in Google Docs when I'm online like this. Now there's the Dopafit also in Southampton. I don't know whether we should not mention Southampton rather than Easthampton.
I guess that was Kate. Was that Kate's? Because yeah, we have the dope. I would put Southampton in there. I noticed that as well.
Right, it is Southampton. It is not Easthampton at all. That should be Southampton.
Okay. I don't know what this Amadisus. Where are they?
I don't know. That was her suggestion.
Okay, so these I'm gonna highlight because we don't know what they are. All right. Okay, other supporters, Good Eats to Go restaurant. Okay, we already have Dopafits. We got them in there.
Yep.
We don't need to mention them again.
Yep.
Aquatics. From
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
Roots
think
VA.
we'll be going to that extent. Roots is very expensive, so I can't see that as part of our.
Kind of depends on how
program.
much we get on the grant, though.
But the grants, isn't the grant only
A
4,000?
year, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So all of these are all possible activities. So it's just that if you're gonna do this once a month, Kate, I think you may have joined us. Are you there?
Sorry.
Good, that's okay.
Oh,
We're
thank
just trying to go through. I pulled up, thanks for being part of this and doing all the work you've done already. We've got everybody on here from the COA, including Nancy. And we're going through the document that was in Google and just trying to get a little bit more precision here. So we're just down looking at some of the local supporters. I think we don't want to be so broad that we're giving them the kitchen sink of every activity that could possibly happen. So I don't know, Joan, in your discussions with Westhampton, do they have specific focus that they would like to have? I don't know.
not at this time. I think it's a new idea to Hampshire County. I really think, besides South Hadley, are they considered Hampshire?
Yes.
This is a new idea in this area. I don't know if Northampton's ever had it. They're not at liberty right now, but
I don't think
I
you have
really
to
think-
include
I
any.
agree, they don't have to put everything.
I just did
Yeah.
that because I know Chris, you had said to be as specific as possible. I did talk to Emeritus and Lifelong Rehab about maybe offering some exercise program or educational classes, because I didn't know if we had talked to any other VNAs. The class, same thing with the classes. Those were just ideas about programs that different people could offer for free.
Right. And where is Emeritus? Where are they located?
They're all over. They're an affiliate of Lifelong Rehab.
Okay. Are they the ones that come to Armbrook?
They do. They offer agility and balance training, yoga classes, exercise classes. I mean, they're pretty flexible.
But is it Holyoke? Where do they come from in this region?
I don't know exactly what their service area is.
Okay, we'll just make a note of them, just so we know what they're talking about. Okay. All right, let's kind of keep on rolling here a little bit and see if we can get through the basic questions and then figure out where we are. So Oh, man. Come on. All right, 3, which of the priority areas identified does your program address? So,
We got a urine on him because allegedly he saw some blood in his urine, so they did a urine on him.
somebody's got, is that Kate in the background? Somebody's got some insurance information going on. So a memory cafe would reduce isolation through providing activities. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So which of the priority areas? So this would be the isolation. So we are kind of addressing that, I think. And these are just, again, these are just ideas. They are not necessarily something that would go in the narrative by the time we're done, right? So,
Correct.
okay. And again, this is supposed to be 400 characters. So I'm just going to do a double check, guys, so we know what we're talking about.
There's like very few sections that are
Yeah.
even close to the word requirements.
Well, we were over on the summary a bit, but so the characters here, 330. So we're still okay right here in just this.
The summary
part
was
of the-
2,000 character. The summary was, it said 2,000 characters.
I know, and we're over that.
He checked
So
it. It was like 2,000, 2,100, 2,200 or something. It
Yeah,
was close.
we're over it by a couple hundred. It's not bad. So this is still within. Lots of ideas here, but let's get to the core question here. So which towns are served by your project? Okay. So how many seniors 60 or older reside in each community? Yep.
It's just going back to the one you just had, and I know saw it somewhere. I looked at this so quickly earlier. The caregiver support group, is that in there? Because that seems like a really important thing to connect people in town or in our community, to provide a community for folks that are going through the same thing and provide some support. And just
It would be
introduction.
separate from the memory. It would be separate from the memory cafe though, because you wouldn't really have, I mean, you're supporting them from getting them out of the house and being with other people, but have a support group with client there, it's difficult. You're having two different conversations.
But this way we're
I mean,
connecting them so they can have that support group away from the memory cafe then. You know, they can make those connections that they probably
Correct.
wouldn't be able to make. Yeah,
That's true.
Okay. So would
That would be
that
in
go in here,
addition
Nancy, as a-
to.
yeah, I'm not sure where that belongs.
Okay, I'm just gonna put the idea down. So caregivers.
I'm sure
would have
Somewhere.
the opportunity, whatever, to whatever meet. This is just rough, okay? Meet each other and
Make connections.
carry on. And you're right, and make connections outside of this, right?
For
We'll
support.
tidy it up, but
That's true, Nancy, because that happened at the caregiver support thing that you helped to put on
Right,
for us.
right.
So
And we never followed up. Yeah, unfortunately. Sorry.
yep,
Yeah.
okay, yep, okay. Alrighty, good point. So we'll add that there and we'll, like I say, we'll have to come back and do a lot of tinkering here. So let's get down to the towns. So 2018, now we've got the census from last year, right? We've got the census from 2020. Can we
Oh,
not
see,
go
I
those-
didn't have that information.
I can check
Do
with
you have it?
Lucy and get those numbers.
I had it at some point. It changes whenever she runs the report, but yeah, because even
Some of the
total number of
statistics were over 65, and the question is how many people over 60? So it was just hard to find like 60 and older specifically.
Especially with the new census. Do we have any data from the new census, the 2020 census
yeah,
at all?
we do. Yeah, we do. So I'm just gonna put in here, use 2020 census, town census. Because even the population total is less, actually. It's not 6,100 anymore.
And would we limit the attendees to just people who resided in Southampton and Westhampton?
No,
So I think we should mention that, because most other memory cafes don't create like boundaries, like the one in the hill towns is Huntington and surrounding communities. And when I looked on the North Shore, there's like 1 million memory cafes, and that they all, it's like all are welcome.
I agree. That's how we expand, by meeting other people and sharing.
Okay, so, but are we starting that way? I mean, we've decided, Kate, before you got back here, to aim for monthly to start with, and if things are very interesting, that could be expanded. But to start slowly with Westhampton and Southampton monthly. Would we want to just start there, and then maybe in the second year, we would do more reaching out to other communities, or?
My fear is that it's not enough
If-
of a pool, that some of the other people that are already involved with memory cafes, maybe from, not too far away, from South Hadley or from Hamden, they may want to reach out to us or come to ours to visit, and their experience will only benefit us. So if we excluded people from other communities, I think it would be to our fault that we wouldn't be able to build it the way, we could if we're sharing with other communities. I mean, if it got too big, I would have to say, yes, we'll have to limit it. But my feeling is we're not going to have enough people if we just do the 2 communities.
Okay, so would be invited?
Would
Lack
be
of anything
invited,
else, I mean-
yes, and
I mean, for example, Montgomery's closer than Huntington. I don't believe they have a senior center of any sort, but they must have seniors in Montgomery, for example. I'm not sure who else right around close by, but so which towns or communities are
But
served
even
by your?
Easthampton and Northampton don't have memory cafes.
But we are limited in size. So I mean, I guess, I think we have to start and get the program worked out before we just, this is just my personal opinion, before we, I mean, so I think the expansion is great. I'm concerned about, maybe I'm too optimistic, Joan, that we
You're
open,
way too optimistic.
we open
When
up.
I
the
had 3
doors-
people, at a discussion group. I'm really afraid that we're not going to have enough people.
But I don't think we do a lot of marketing. I mean, if we don't market this, whatever your discussion
That's
group
true.
was, I'm not sure how marketing, yeah, that's
True.
done to support it or to drive it. So
Well,
you
we could
just,
specify that, and so we do need this senior 60 and over, try to use 2020 figures. But we could say, if this is going to be monthly, so this is a year-long grant and then another second year of it, right? So, we could say that we would start out, since this is sort of our first foray into this idea, we would start out just with Southampton and Westhampton, but after the first 4 months, we would open it up to other communities or something like that.
or even if we added something, Chris, about other communities are welcome to RSVP if space is available, or
Right, we have to figure out the space. So do we want 20 attendees? Like it would be 10 and 10, maybe, what size group do we want? And then that's when we decide we'll have to close it off, obviously.
Yeah, so we can put a
Right.
max limit on it. I mean, we may have to, in the fall, even have a maximum limit at this moment in our crazy lives, but who knows what October brings. I'm just thinking that
Yeah.
we should RSVP anyway, but, so we don't want a busload of people come in from Northampton, and then we don't have the space to
Correct.
support them. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Correct.
I may not be saying it properly, but I think in our.
I don't
state-
want to limit it, but I don't want to, it can't be too big. I agree. It
I mean,
can't be.
I feel like
too
maybe
big.
that's something you can say and then we can figure that out after the fact. Like, I don't know.
I'm just,
Like, I don't know if that
Yeah,
really is
look-
gonna have a huge impact on this particular
Yeah, board.
application.
Yeah,
You know, maybe that's our own internal figuring outings.
that's a good
Yeah.
point, Kate. Yeah, we're worrying about after we get the grant, and we haven't got the grant.
we gotta get there
Yeah,
first,
yeah.
yeah. Dan, I think I just saw you come in.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, how are you? Yeah, I'm gonna warn you, we're nowhere near the park grant, and I'm not sure we're gonna get there today.
Hey, that's okay. I mean, maybe next time or
we-
something.
Well, we'll see. I mean, feel free to just, put us on mute and stay on. But this was the deadline of Monday, so we're trying to
Oh, no, I'll
push it
I'll
on.
catch up with you guys later. Good luck with whatever it is that
All
you're
right.
doing, and thank you for all your hard work. So
No, thanks, Dan. We'll catch up. We'll keep you informed for sure.
thank you.
And definitely, once we get rid of this one, the park grant will be the next focus. Really, really, really.
I really appreciate your help because I'm like, I don't know what to do. Sorry. Have a good one, guys. Bye bye.
All right. Well, thanks, Dan.
Chris, I have to step away
All right,
for a
so-
minute to help. I got a phone call
Yep.
from my dad, but we're gonna turn to the park
Okay.
again, right? In a bit?
I'm sorry. We're going to
Back
what?
to the park in a minute?
Well, given our timing here, I'm not sure how much time people have today. We're at 3:15 already, so I'm not sure we're going to get back to parks later today.
Well, I'll come back in a bit as soon as I can deal with him and.
Sure. No, just come on back in anytime. Yep. I'll see you. Yep. Okay, so we need to reach out to Lucy and to Westhampton to get some facts and figures. Okay, is that Joan? Can you do that?
Westhampton is only 630, so theirs has dropped. They have 630 seniors.
And you got that number from her, Joan, last
I
week?
got it from Kat from Huntington, was working on the grant with her as well.
Okay.
Okay, so what are the projected goals of the program here, of the proposal that we're talking about? So let's just sneak down here. So Kate, since you're the one that entered all this stuff in, oh, I'm sorry, she's on the phone. I guess I was just wondering, this is a lot of goals, and I just want to be sure that we're not talking in generalities about memory cafes around the world in general, but we're really trying to get as specific as we can to what our particular goals are. Why is this such a need for Southampton and Westhampton, for example? Why is this such a priority that this is what we want to go for? So what are we trying to
Sorry about that.
achieve with this? So that's okay. So Kate, what I was just trying to say is that this is a good list here, but I think we have to be as specific here as we can as to what Southampton and Westhampton want to get out of doing this. What is our problem that we're trying to solve, if you will, by having a memory cafe program? And maybe it's all of
I
these.
think you
It
could pick like
seems
two of
a lot.
those.
2 or 3.
I think
don't
you could
know.
pick 2.
So does it? Yeah. Anybody have any particular thoughts there? I mean,
the first
I'm
one.
not saying we have to limit it. Yeah. I mean, it's
first one
400 characters. So
heavy.
we have. Yeah. Yeah. So first one is good. Yeah.
I like to strengthen a peer support network amongst rural communities.
Yeah, I do too.
I think that's gonna, I mean, they really want collaboration for this particular grant, so.
What does that first one say? Oh, okay. Is there any way to say at risk? Because these folks are at risk for
Where?
losing their
Sure.
home
Where do you?
if their caregivers are burnt out.
So where would you like to say that?
maybe up at that top one.
To a higher number of seniors, and a higher number
Oh, okay.
a higher number implies that we've already done something and we want to do better than we did last time. So I think outreach
So I would
to-
take out higher number and put seniors at
put-
risk.
yeah,
Yeah, high risk seniors to lose. Yeah.
okay, high risk seniors and their caregivers.
I think those are the biggies. Those two.
All right. I mean, why don't we can do it. I mean, you know, we've got 400 characters, so, you know, it's more than you think. I just didn't want it to be just a shopping list that, you know, if you could look on Wikipedia and for the definition, they would say, oh, well, yeah, that's what a memory cafe is supposed to do. I mean, what are we really trying to do? So,
I think, those two are fine.
Well, I would do more. I don't think you just have to limit it to 2. We have 400 characters.
yeah.
What's the second
How about
one?
the aging demographic? How about this one? Better address the aging demographic. I think that's true, right? The
Yes.
needs of the aging demographic, maybe? Anyway, I don't know why this is trying to edit at the same time. This is driving me crazy, but anyway.
If you click, this happened to me last night and it was driving me crazy. You see that little box? Yeah, that one.
That one?
Not suggesting mode.
What do I want? Editing or viewing?
Editing.
I don't know.
When it kept doing suggesting, it was driving me nuts.
Yeah, well, we'll have to really tidy this up anyway. What about this, this one about the engaging environment with socialization and respite? That would be maybe the last one in my mind, but I don't know. You guys know better.
I think that's a good one. I mean, that's really like the foundation of why people do memory cafes.
So if we can put in those 4, that would be good, right?
Yes.
We'll see how much room we have. Okay, we'll try. All right, let's keep on moving here. So wait a minute. Why did we have that same question again? No. How many? Okay, so the other one was just population of the 2 towns. How many are projected to benefit? So here's where we go. We'll track them, yes, by having them assign in, fine. So do we want to say something like?
It's a guessing game. It's a guessing game. I mean, you're hoping, you know, to help at least, I don't know, 20 to 40 people. We don't know. And we don't know if it's going to be
I mean, if
the same people each month.
Sure, no, that's true. But I'm just trying to think, suppose our COVID restrictions are gone. I mean, you've held your luncheons for easily 50 people, right?
Right.
Yeah, the maximum
Where we
room,
don't have to,
the room size holds what, Joan? I mean, from the building section?
75.
75, so.
okay. So should we say 20 to 40? Because that would be 20 plus their caregivers, right?
Yes.
And don't forget, this is not each time. This is over the is this over a year? I was confused by this question, but is this over the year or over 2 years, right? Because it's a 2-year grant. So
Right.
wouldn't it be not just how many people can go to one session, but how many people are going to cumulatively benefit over the 2 years of the grant?
That's probably true.
Yeah, but
Yep.
but then when they put in this unduplicated customer, so they want you to count me only one time, even if I come to every one you have,
Right.
right? So
Okay, but you know, that could also be caregivers too, right? So that could
Yeah.
be like, so say for every attendee, you'd have a caregiver, so that would be 2 people.
Right.
How did Huntington answer that question? I mean, they're inviting like surrounding towns.
Yeah. So suppose you had, say, 10 people each month. I mean, and that's caregiver and person that needs it, but you're going to most likely have them come back. What's our supposition that the return rate would be, 50% of them would come back for a second time, or?
That sounds good.
I mean, I just think if that's what they're looking for, so, if it was 10 people a month, that's 120 people for the year, but those may be duplicates. So could we say, I don't know, up to 150 people, up to?
I think that's a good number because you know what? It's just a number, and that's over the course of 2 years. I mean, you might be able to find that you can do it somewhere else also, or have, I don't know, expand community outreach to include other groups of people.
I don't know, Janet, any thoughts? What's making sense of? No.
Sorry, I'm trying to send Lucy a message so we can get the number. So,
I think 150 people is kind of a high goal, but hey, if you
2
don't
years.
shoot for something,
Yeah.
I also
okay.
think,
So over the 2-year period, I mean, I don't know.
That's
But again, these would be
unduplicated or duplicated?
No, I mean, this would be
Unduplicated.
150
yeah,
unduplicated people.
not that
We
We don't have 150 people that come to the center just for normal activities. We have 150 people and they come 3,000 times, but I think it's
about
a high
100?
number.
100?
Well, there's also Easthampton or Westhampton too, right?
Right,
Right.
right. It's such a specific population that we're looking at, but
But then
Up
it's
to
all,
100.
are you
That-
including,
that's
caregivers in that number? So say you have
Yes.
100
Right.
senior.
Yes, I am trying to.
you have to be.
I
You would
think
have
that's
to
what
be.
it
Yes.
is. How many
No, I'm sorry.
elders? So, yeah. So you've got how many elders and how many others? So, so we could split that out if you want to. So up to 100 over the 2-year period.
I'm
We
back.
could make that elders and caregivers if you
Caregivers.
want to.
And
Yeah, I mean, I
many of
don't
the
wanna-
caregivers are elders already.
I know, well, but
It's their spouses.
not
we're talking
necessarily.
about, yes, and you're talking about those in high risk versus their caregivers, regardless of the age of the caregiver.
Right, right. So,
I feel more comfortable with just the 100 people. That's,
Yeah,
we don't know. It's the unknown.
plus if we reach out to other communities and allow other communities to come in.
yeah, and I was just.
I think you
looking
could
at it
just
from-
say an estimated 100 people will benefit over the 2-year period. And that I think you could almost say that this will depend on outreach and marketing also.
And can you just put 100 plus?
Sure.
So add estimated, and then I like the part about outreach and marketing, because that's what we're asking for money for.
Mm-hmm.
So we have My Senior Center, which is a database. So we already have that. It's a
But-
computer database, the sign-in cards.
Right, yep, that already exists, so. So I just sent the message to Lucy about getting the 2020 town census number, so hopefully she'll be around tomorrow.
Okay. Can we kind of keep on moving a little bit?
Yep.
So check off the populations. I guess you can check more than one that your proposal will engage. So rural and underserved.
Yes.
At risk oh, come on. Why are you doing this?
I tried to put dashes.
Yeah, no, it's just me and my dumb thing here.
I wonder if
I
we can just
remember any-
take out the other two. It says check off, yeah.
No, you can't do anything when you're actually online in their application. You just have to, I'm just doing this so that, I mean, well, we'll talk about it when we get done with this, how we go from here. So those are the two. So then how your proposal will provide services and the desired impact. Well, I thought we talked about that earlier. Maybe we didn't.
It's such a redundant question. I was trying to figure out how to answer it differently because I think
Yeah.
maybe I was gonna ask about this, like, what if you focused on the desired impact? Like, because I feel like that's the only part of that question that's not redundant. Like, what caregivers were verbalize feeling supported. I don't know. It's just you've already asked the same question like 3 different ways.
Well, that's what they're asking. What's your target population? So it's caregivers and seniors with memory impairment.
No, well, that's my question. Like, who are we
Oh, that was
specifically
your
trying
question? Oh,
who are we trying to target the most? Like, is it the caregivers? Is it the family? And what is our biggest goal? Like, we want to reduce isolation. We want to provide a creative outlet. I don't know. Enhance caregiver support training.
Make the connections. I think that's really important in this community. People don't even know who's
networking.
out there. Yep.
I mean, the interaction with others that they don't get otherwise, right? I mean,
Right, which would be the reduced isolation and contact with others. What was the word you
about-
used, Janet?
receive regular interaction with others and to
Interaction, yeah.
yeah, and to also be able to talk to like-minded people, hopefully to trigger some mental stimulation.
So I put in a new stimulating environment. How's that?
Yeah,
Perfect.
and to provide a friendly space to answer questions they have. I don't know if they're in the earlier stages of Alzheimer's, I guess.
Maybe
thank
not for
you.
this question, but we wanted to think about putting in the intergenerational piece too, maybe having, some either high school age students or that
might be a
maybe
little-
be able to attend.
Do we really, I mean, I don't know if that's a nice thing to have, and I know they kind of talk about it, but is it realistic with this population? If we're doing their
I think
caregivers?
awareness, I think it's a good awareness factor, is to, I don't know, again, well, maybe it would be college students, maybe it wouldn't be high school students.
I mean, I don't
Maybe
know.
it would be connections with, social services or OT from the colleges.
I would also say we've had high school students here who have been wonderful working with folks with some real memory impairments, and it's been good for both
Okay.
the high school and younger people we've had here. So as long as it's supported,
Okay.
it could be really beneficial to both groups.
Because that has to be something that's really monitored by people that, really understand both populations.
Right, for
So
sure.
I'm just gonna put this, so this local community college, I'm thinking Holyoke Community, for example.
And I would include Hampshire Regional High School if Nancy said that's been good experience. I just don't want to bite off more than we can really manage, but hear me, I'm not being optimistic now.
It may only be one of the 12 sessions, won't be
Yeah.
everyone.
And the fact that
Yeah.
Westhampton is part of this and Hampshire Regional is part of the regional school, I think
Right.
is probably a good.
So make connections to introduce the, do we call it a problem? What is memory challenge? Is that a problem? Is it a, I don't want to label it wrongly.
Yeah, I would not put a problem, but a challenge,
Yeah.
possibly a challenge.
To introduce the issue of memory challenge, or no?
I'm
Or
I'm
can you, we
thinking
used memory
that's a-
impairment
yeah.
earlier.
The topic of, I'll just throw something out here. We'll
Is
tidy it up.
Kate, are you still on?
Yeah, I'm here.
What would you say that?
I think that, to educate other,
Or to allow,
expose,
yeah, exposure to differing groups that can support each other.
Okay, I'm just throwing down words.
facilitate exposure from different age groups.
Yeah, trying to make it more positive because it can be quite positive.
Intergenerational exposure to individuals with, I mean, we have 400 characters. So.
Yeah, no, and none of this is in any kind of English, right? So I'm just throwing words. I'm just throwing words like spaghetti at the wall, right? And
Thank you, Chris.
come play with it. But this is the sort of stream of consciousness brainstorming that can be helpful, or it can be very frustrating too. But that's why these things end up being very drafty to begin with. But then you got to go back and tinker and really tighten it all up. Okay.
So
But I think
I
we,
just have a quick
Yep,
question,
go ahead.
Chris. So it says, describe how your proposal will provide services. I just want to make sure we're,
answering the
Right.
question.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
It's so, that's such a hard question to answer.
is, yeah. It's not well written.
Well, it gives us something to think about. I'm going to highlight that so we know we've got to go back and look at that.
Right, services and desired impact.
I think it's, you could even say simply that there's no, a program like this doesn't exist in this area. So you're creating access to something that currently is not available. Maybe it's just like that simple.
And we don't want to we don't want to exclude the caregivers either, because I think, I mean, in just some of the searches I've done, that not only they do have both, some cafes do have both, maybe one session every 6 months for the caregivers to go one place and the folks with dementia to stay in the other room, so that they both get something out of it. I don't know.
That's actually, I've not heard that, but I think that's a good thing to do.
I mean, it's not, doesn't have to happen every month, but I think occasionally we have to have, like we did when Nancy brought her folks in to talk to the caregivers. That was as critical as anything, that their interaction
Absolutely.
together was so critical, and to know that they weren't alone. So I think part of it needs to be very somewhat focused, not the main focus, but a secondary focus is on the caregivers as well.
Yeah, you're kind of doing caregiver training during the cafe, it seems to me. I don't really know how these work, but I would assume you're modeling and kind of cueing folks, how best to kind of work with some kind of a for better word, behavior that you're experiencing. And you can model that in a group and people can say, oh yeah, I've seen that at home. That might be a good way to, you know, respond.
Approach.
The other
Yeah.
thing that I thought was interesting is a lot of programs provide written materials to people. So even if it's not something that can be covered during one of the Memory Cafe sessions, it's something that they can reference later on. There's a bunch of online videos. So maybe it's just also like making people aware of existing resources that are out there, giving them, you know, access to it.
And I guess one of the things I took away from the one that we did was that people just need to talk and get confirmation that, you know, what they're doing and what they need to understand from other people in their situation. So
Right, that they're not alone,
Yep.
that there are programs to
Yeah.
help them.
they need to be listened to.
Yeah, okay, so I'll just
Yep,
put
yep.
these down, okay?
Is there a place in there that, because that's a good point, Janet, you know, that one program we did kind of showed that there is this need out there. And we didn't really market it that much. And
No.
we did see a little bit of, you know, of a need. Imagine if we were able to market it more.
Right. Yep.
Mhm, yeah. Okay, well, we've got these thoughts, we can come back around. Let's just we're down toward the end here a little bit. Let's see how far we can get. So other sources for funding, is there a cost to consumers? So it's going to be free, right?
Correct.
What else can we say here? So other sources, would there be some chip in from the Friends of the COA or?
And I would say donations. I wouldn't, we can't speak for them, but I'm sure that they would be, that's why they exist, is to support programs for us. So, yeah, I'm sure I mean, I'm sure that they would.
But you don't want to list them separately,
Well,
specifically,
I
or is that
would
what you're saying?
list them. I don't think it can hurt to list them. I think if Joan went to them and said, I need, you know, $500 for this event, they wouldn't hesitate. So feel free to list them. And I think Joan just needs to let them know that we have listed them as a potential avenue of funding.
The other thing that I saw is there's also other things that you can seek out donations for, like food, beverages, like some of the refreshments. Like it doesn't have to be cash donations, but it could
Right.
be, you know, a lunch or something like that.
I mean, places like Big E have been very good about donating things to the senior center from a food perspective.
And Care One came in and made a meal for us, and they do it in Easthampton as well. So, you know, other facilities that
Right.
would
And
support
I,
us.
you know, yeah, and I think there's things, you know, like if you went to like Bush's, for example, and wanted, I don't know, cider and something. I mean, you could do that if you had a cider and popcorn or something day. I mean, I don't know, I'm just making it up, but I know because, you know, our local
that's good.
our local businesses, I think, would be glad to do those kinds of things. From town businesses or from town. I don't know.
From local town businesses, I think it's fine. From local businesses or town businesses, yeah.
Yeah, like Bashista's, when we did a walk, we got cider from them, but they do a lot of you know, sense, you know, taste, smell, and
Right.
seasonal things. So it would be, you know, like the fall and
Yeah.
the pumpkin cider. That would be in October or November. That would be the program.
But I would say that we've never received nothing for nothing from them.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say lunch or refreshments versus just lunch, or maybe say refreshments from local businesses. Oh, you have refreshments. I'm sorry, I saw it in there. It's there. Never mind. But I think if we told them what the purpose was, or maybe somebody that has a relationship with them, and they gave us a good discount on the apples, but we never asked them to give us something for nothing.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to put all that in, Chris, I don't think.
No,
I'm just, but it may just spawn another sentence or two as we think about it overnight or something. So, yeah, we won't leave that, but, okay. So if we don't receive the full funding, will it still be viable? What will happen? So if we didn't get the full funding to do this on a monthly basis, what would we do?
So we may try it, for a couple times. We wouldn't be able to probably do it for the annual, for the year. We may try to pilot program,
Sorry, Kim.
I just put that, it probably, I mean, would you pursue it if you didn't get grant funding for it?
I feel it's a worthwhile project. Could we do it to the size of monthly or whatever? No, but we might be able to do it quarterly or something. I don't know.
How about every other month?
Okay.
So, the question, I just go back to the question. If you do not receive full funding, will it still be viable? So,
I also think about Westhampton, just thinking about, their limited resources too, right? You said, Joan, that they only have 8 hours weekly. So I think like the goal of this is to expand outside of Southampton, and it's going to be really challenging for us to support other towns if it's not funded, right? Maybe that's worth saying, like, me, the like local or outreach to South or Westhampton may be limited.
okay, I'm gonna get rid of some of this in between stuff, Kate, is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Because we kind of talked about the in-kind donations and other stuff already. Well, hang on. So due to limited budget and resources available, I mean, we can tie that sentence back in to make more sense. So if we're limited resources, that's going to limit our outreach and, make it more challenging to support other towns being involved in it. And what would have to happen would be probably to reduce it to a pilot program every other month rather than monthly. I think that's a valid response to that answer. To that question. Okay. Okay, evidence-based.
Sounds good.
Okay, yeah, so we got all these links. So what do we want to say here, though? We're not going to provide them with links. So what are we going to do?
Right. So I didn't know how to answer this question because I couldn't find any like scientific study about specifically memory cafes, but I didn't really answer that question. I left those links there for later because there's it's crazy. There's 100 of them in Massachusetts. And so
Okay.
I was trying to come up with like one sentence to say like the evidence lies within the expansion of memory, like or success of existing memory cafes in Massachusetts. I just couldn't work. I by the time I was through working on this last night, my wordsmithing abilities were kind of fizzling out.
But that's a good directory that you put in here.
Yeah. was there anywhere, or would there be anywhere where they would have done, like Hamden, you mentioned, Joan, would they have done an evaluation of their memory cafe somewhere?
I
That we
don't
could
know.
get a hold of and cite,
You know,
about
and I never reached out to MCOA. MCOA may have been a real good place to find something like that.
And I thought you were gonna
I
look,
can do
So
that
something like
first
that.
thing tomorrow.
I thought you were gonna look into
Yeah.
Tufts too, or something, Joan.
I
I
have the
think
Tufts.
Tufts might
I
have
took the
done
Tufts
something.
thing in front of me. They said
Okay.
12% of our seniors have had strokes. So I don't know, it doesn't say memory issues, although sometimes, you know, Parkinson's and strokes, there's some other things that affect, but they don't have something for memory impairment. They cover a lot of, that's not in their survey. But I think MCOA probably is a real good tool. I can look at that first thing in the morning.
Okay, so I think that kind of thing, if we could say, hey, look, this is relatively new to this portion of Hampshire County, but you know, we know that there are, you know, 100 plus or whatever memory cafes in the state of Massachusetts. You know, and evaluations from wherever. I think I saw Ludlow or Longmeadow or other communities that have done these, you know, show that whatever it shows. If we could cite somebody's evaluation somehow, that would be, I think.
I can also look for
Kind
some
of the-
information about that. I couldn't get there yesterday, but I was trying to sift through the directory to see what other resources were on there, and that's
Yeah.
a pretty good website.
Yeah, I think we would want to develop, though, a small evaluation form ourselves, because it's looking at consumer satisfaction to support the effectiveness of your program. So we would want the caregivers at least.
That's a separate question.
No, it's part of this one, isn't it? 11?
No, relevant information regarding, I think that's not,
Research.
I think that's about to support effectiveness of your proposed program. So I think that would be evidence-based research or consumer satisfaction from other programs.
Okay. All right. I'll get rid of it. No
But
problem.
it does ask the question somewhere. Oh yeah, number 12, next question.
Okay. 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 There we go. Yep. Surveys. So survey might be heavy duty, might be more questionnaire.
Sure.
I mean, a survey could be, I don't know. So survey, I don't know. I'm just going to throw the word down.
Questionnaire. I think questionnaire is fine. I also said attendance will help to gauge interest and level of satisfaction, right? If you have good
Yeah.
number of attendees.
So as part of marketing, you could do a survey. Let's see, survey to identify desired programs. So, for example, if you put out a mini survey as part of your marketing saying we're thinking of doing this, we might have the following activities. For example, music, arts,
Pet therapy,
painting,
although we can't
pet
have pets, never
therapy.
mind.
I
I'll
know,
list
I
it
think,
through.
Okay, well, whatever.
no, I think pet therapy, I think therapy dogs are allowed.
That's
think-
right. I forgot.
Okay.
They have to be certified, not our dogs, but pet therapy dogs. That have gone through somebody like Bright Spot, you know, or that are actually trained to do that.
Yeah, they had the zoo, actually, they had the mobile zoo. Somebody told me from Forest Park. I don't know if they brought a pot-bellied pig or something. I don't know. Horses, somebody did
I mean, so
therapy horses outside.
yeah, sure. So I mean, I think it's the kind of thing where, you know, to really get the community engagement, you would be able to somehow do some sort of a survey, preliminary survey, as part of your marketing to say, okay, what would be the most desired programs? Because if you decided, okay, I don't know, we're going to do a cooking demonstration, for example, and nobody's interested in it, then you've wasted your time and effort, right? So you want to identify the potential
True.
customers or vendors based on what people, the caregivers are going to know what their people, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say the right word. The caregivers would know how the participants, what would be of most interest to their participant, I would think.
Yeah, I think you could even do that at the programs too, you know? What
Yeah,
are some things you'd like to see in a future?
right.
I think I put that. I said attendees will also be able to offer suggestions for future cafe entertainment or educational topics.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, okay. We've got the gist there, I think. Okay, all right. Did we receive program in 2021? No. We have not, right? So, perfect, good. All
I have a few statistics when you're,
right, we'll get back in
we
a
can
minute.
go
How
back to
about
that.
we've applied for the formula grant, yes?
Yes, we will have applied, yeah.
So we can't apply, we will
But,
apply, but we
you
can't
will have by the
apply
time this-
until,
Just say yes, because we have it now. We are going to apply. It's just easier to say yes than say by the time this is rewarded, we will have applied for the grant. Right?
should we put that next to it?
Just put yes, no, or not
it
applicable. So yes.
If this, it depends on the application. If, sometimes when you check a yes box, it will give you a drop down and saying explain further. So it kind of depends
Mhm.
when you're on the online version, whether it does that kind of thing. But the point is you're,
Highland Valley. Go ahead. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
no, go ahead.
No, I was going to say
So-
Highland Valley certainly has a good grasp of the state formula grant and the cycles, and we've received it every year. So, and then we certainly, if we need to apply $500 of the state formula grant to support this program, we could do that as well. So, I don't know what. That said, I don't know if there's.
So
I will just put my 2 cents in. This time I put no because it wasn't time for the grant to be. And I agree that it should have been yes. When the time comes, we will apply for it.
Yes. So yes is the answer. We have received
we
it
apply for it?
annually for we apply every year. Yep.
What month is it usually applied for?
Pardon me?
What month is the application usually done?
We get it usually right in July and it's due by September, somewhere around that time frame. So we haven't seen it yet. We haven't received it yet for 2022 fiscal year. Upon receipt. Yes, upon receipt.
Something like that. Yeah. Okay, so we've received it annually for, is there a certain number of years, just in case? I don't know. In the last 2, 3, 4 years, or?
No, it's been 20 years, as long as the Council on Aging has probably been in existence.
I mean, it's a state funded
state
grant that's
grant.
available to every community. So
I see,
that's
okay.
what means us. So it's not a grant that you apply for and don't get. It's a grant you apply for. And it's just the paperwork and the process, and then it has to be signed off by the town administrator. And once that's done, it's a reimbursable grant. So
Got it.
okay.
All right.
It's in the
Fine.
budget for every community to receive it based on their population. So.
All right.
Is that-
Excuse me, I just want to interrupt real quick. I have to go. Happy to help
Okay.
with this if there's another meeting or whatever is needed. I'll take a look at it later
Yeah,
and put my 2 cents in.
good,
Okay.
thanks.
Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you,
Really
Nancy.
appreciate it. We'll
Thank
keep
you.
you,
See y'all.
we'll
Nancy,
keep you in the loop here.
bye.
Bye. All right, so we're coming down,
Bye.
it looks like here to the budget part.
So the budget is, it's like a template where it's more of like a formula. The problem is I couldn't copy and paste it into here.
So we can put the numbers here, but they have to be manually inputted in the online form, is that?
Yes, if you look at the application, it's like boxes. I just pulled together some of the things like Huntington is used, or a few other memory cafes used, like things they spent money on that we might want to request funding for. Because I'll say, it seemed like Huntington requested more money than $4,000.
Yeah, okay, well, maybe they know something we don't. All right, so this cafe coordinator, so this would be somebody we have to identify and hire to do this? Is that what we're
Could
saying,
be,
or?
it could be me. I mean, it could be.
Okay,
Or it could
Or
be Colleen, or
It could be a part-time
volunteer.
outreach. It
Yeah.
could be an outreach person that we put on with the formula grant that takes on the memory cafe.
all right.
But
So
I just wanted to
$24 an
set
hour
this
times
aside.
5 hours.
Some of those,
Yeah.
that money would be set aside for whoever coordinates it.
Okay, got it. Okay. Frequency, we talked about monthly, but we'd be talking about a 2.5 hour session. Is that usual, or?
Sometimes there's a half an hour meet and greet so people can just get situated, so maybe it
Yeah.
would run 11 to 1 with a meal or some kind of refreshment in between or at the end.
Okay. Southampton Senior Center, possible $1,000 donations.
Can I ask a quick question? And I don't know if anybody has an answer to this. Is there a better
Oh.
time of day than not for people with Alzheimer's? Are
I
they
think
before
10:30 to 1
4
is fine.
o'clock?
I mean, afternoon is going to be harder, but
Okay,
I think we mentioned that we have to do it during a time when transportation would be available, right? Or
but is early in the day better than later in the day?
yes,
Okay,
but
so,
I think, until 2 or 3 is also fine.
okay.
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 All right, so if we did a quick total, did we have a quick total here? Does this get us around the $4,000 mark?
So
I was
1,200,
getting close. I think I had an extra $50.
Okay,
17.
so we're 12 and then 1 is 22.
So I don't know, is marketing in there? Yeah, we could add extra to marketing.
I thought entertainers, the budget, because you could also have other people besides like music entertainment, like, I don't know, I'm sure pet therapy has a cost. I'm sure like an art class would have a cost. So maybe make the budget for entertainment a little higher.
Okay.
Yeah, 60 to 200 is quite a big range.
I mean, we could just add it. I put 500 for the year. But we
Right,
could
but
add,
you wouldn't be paying somebody $200 an hour, would you?
No,
a
no.
program. We have paid $200 for the program.
like what?
Actually,
Okay.
the
Like what?
Irish program that we had on Zoom, he was $200.
I know, but
And
what
the
would we
fellow
do
who's
for
coming
this group?
for,
I mean, realistically, a cost of a program for this group.
I also think that music or entertainment can also cost you $200. I mean, that could be like 2 people for a couple of
we
hours.
could get it free too. I'm sure there's people that entertain. I can always sing my Irish songs.
And we can't afford
That's
you.
free.
Can't afford you.
Mm.
Is
So
there mar-
you think
I can't read
200 is
this. I'm just
too
trying to
high?
read this. Is there marketing? What did we put in for marketing? Is that enough? for mar-
500.
I think $500 for marketing is smart, especially for a startup.
I want to make sure it's high enough. I guess if we do mailings and we do something that's appealing or handouts for people, or I just want to make sure we have enough money in marketing is more my concern, but we can always supplement it with the state formula grant if we have to.
So I just took out 300, it's left it at 500
Okay,
for marketing.
Yep.
Per year.
because you get a printed piece and you mail something and you're
Yeah,
you're at
right.
500 before you blink.
But we may not do a mass mailing. It might be, it might be a more,
Targeted.
maybe
mail.
initially.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
Targeted
initially.
mailing.
Targeted, thank you.
So this would be per year though, right? Basically.
Yeah.
on these,
Yeah.
So back up on the transportation from Easthampton. So talk to me about this a bit more.
So right
$4
now,
round trip.
right, if that's a donation, that's not, I don't know if that's a cost, if we would be providing necessarily free transportation, they may have to pay for transportation. So
Then I would just take
technically-
that out.
Okay,
Well, because if we're not, if it's not, I just put like a list of things that might cost money. Like if it's not going to cost money, then I think we can just remove it.
Yeah, it wouldn't
Okay.
come out of this budget because it comes out of the FRITA grant. So anything we collect from FRITA would go back into Franklin Regional. So
The other question I
So we-
had was about the craft supplies. So I did read that a lot of places will do like a take-home craft or something where either people can do crafts there or it's something that you could take home. So might want to consider increasing that budget by a little bit.
okay. 300 or more than that? That's my $50. So $300? Or you think even more than that?
Well, okay, so I don't know. I'm literally making this up as I go.
well, don't tell
We're
us.
like 300. why
It
not?
sounds like you know. what you're
We're
talking-
we're shooting for $4,000, right?
Yes.
Correct.
So we'll have to take a look at this and do this.
Let me get
better,
my
but
calculator.
I'm
So
doing
we-
the same
we-
thing.
We're taking out the transportation, right? Is that what we said?
So
Right,
$1,200
that's fine.
plus $1,000. Oh no, that's from donations. So 500.
I mean, refreshments at 500 will get you there, I think.
That's not $4,000.
So refreshments would be $1,000 instead of 500.
No, wait a minute.
That's
You got 1,200,
1,200.
1,000.
No, that's from
22.
donations, so you don't have to include that in the cost.
Okay,
Yeah, but
Sorry.
later down, further down.
yep. Right here.
So 1,200 for wages, 500 for marketing.
Yep.
And 500 for entertainers. So that's another 1,000. That's 2,200. And then another 1,000 for refreshments. That's 3,200. So you have $800.
And your craft supplies, 300.
So we still have $500 to spend.
so the
I would
base,
say increase your craft budget and your your entertainment budget or both.
yeah, because it sounds like we just
Okay.
came here to feed them. 1,000, the biggest amount of money's in the food.
How
Well-
about 750?
If we have lunch for 20 people, 10 or 12 times at $10 a head, what's
Yeah, I
that?
mean, Is lunch
That's
really?
not what we're doing, but
Yeah, I don't think lunch is really the goal, is it? I mean,
No.
in
Refreshments,
other
probably.
cafes it is.
well,
Hamden
they-
has a lunch every time they have a program, which is weekly, they have lunch with it. I'm sure
Yeah,
the participants buy the lunch. They have a nutrition program, so it's $2 or $3 a person for lunch.
we don't have a kitchen. that
Whereas we
can
don't
use.
have a nutrition program, it
Or
could
kitchen.
cost us to cater it. It could cost us $10 a person to
Yeah, so I
cater
don't,
it.
so I don't think we do that, I mean, I think refreshments, it's just my opinion. If we have to.
Or
use
do
the-
it once or
food
twice a
wisely.
year instead of,
Yeah, I mean, if they're gonna say well, this is a lot of food we're buying with this grant, is it worth it? Then I guess I'm looking at it from them making approvals.
We could even get some of that money through grants. I mean, or through donations. I think you could
Yeah.
make
I-
it more for entertainment and craft supplies.
Okay, so I just changed a few numbers. So we got 1,200. Come on down to 600 changes. That's 1,800. 750 and 350 get you 1,100 more. So that's what, 39? Oh no, am I too much? Wait a minute. I may be too much. 1,800. 1,000. 28. 38. I think I'm at 3,900, but check me. Did I
Right,
miss
so
something?
if we, well, the refreshment part, something has to, we have to give something for refreshments. So maybe
Yeah.
we should up our marketing 100, and then if she thinks 1,000 is too much for refreshments, we could, you know. That is, it's a cafe, so that's a key component.
No, I understand. I'm just looking at from Highland Valley saying 25% of the
Alright.
thing is going to food and
All
I
right,
think
so,
you could also include education. So we put marketing materials. Something that's not listed here is educational materials. That's something else that
Okay.
I think other programs budgeted for.
yeah, so maybe
all right, so like
Or
400 for that.
You could do educational materials and programming. I mean, $500 for that is actually not a lot of money at all.
Okay, so somebody do the math here now. 1,200, 600 for marketing, 500 for educational, 750 for entertainers, 350 craft supplies, and then how much is left for refreshments? Are we over?
No, I was way under. I don't know what I.
You could do 600. I mean, that's $3,400. So even with that, you could do $600 for refreshments, no problem.
okay. I think
So
that's
let me
okay,
just do it one more time. 1,200. Oops.
1,200 marketing, 600 materials for education, 5,
23.
750 for entertainers, 350 for craft supplies,
And then
33.
600 for refreshments.
Yep. So that's $4,000.
so 600 annually
I
here.
think that's reasonable.
Yep, this is all annual. Yep.
The other thing that we didn't really talk about, and maybe this would be a thing for next year for expansion, the ability of using other places besides the senior center to host cafes. Like, it doesn't always necessarily have to be only at the senior center.
Right.
But I mean, we don't have to figure that out right now, but
Right.
like other places would rent out a hall or use a different space. You could do it outside.
Yeah, outside is always an option. I mean, we don't have a lot of halls in town, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, Janet, I'm coming back to your statistics
Yeah,
here.
so I did find something that said 5 to 8% of the population 60 and over suffers from dementia. So
Wait a
so
minute.
that's about 102 to 150 potential people. So the number of seniors in town, 2,043 over from 60 and over. The town population, wait, that came in two bits.
Sorry, let's go again. 2,000 what?
2,000.
43.
Yeah, 2,043. The full population of town is, let me just hold on, sorry. I ended up getting multiples because there was a mistake. I thought it was 6,071. Now I got to find the darn thing. 6,070 is our population. Of which 2,043 are over 60 or over.
Right.
And according to the World Health Organization, 5 to 8 out of every 100 people, 5 to 8 have dementia.
Fine.
5 to 8%. So and is that a document that we need to attach to it with that?
I don't know if it requires some
I-
attachments or not. So do you want to say every 100 people or just 5 to 8%? Is that right?
Well, 5 to 8% of the population, whichever, I mean, that's the statistic. So I forget how the, sorry, my phone is ringing. I think it bumped me off of the site here. Oy. So how is the question?
So probably,
So that's just in Southampton. So if we look at how many seniors, Joan, in Westhampton,
630.
so you have another 5 to 8% of that number. So it's a lot higher than I want to think about.
People hide it well, and their spouses or partner hide it too.
Yes, yeah.
They cover for each other. So we're talking maybe 40 people in town, but they're not gonna come, they're not gonna all come here, you know, they're just, and it's the situation of them maybe living with somebody or needing care so that, you
right.
know,
So you're talking about, 100 plus people in just our community.
Well, and that's where we were with our
Plus caregivers.
thought.
Plus their caregivers. So I mean,
So when we said an estimated 100 people over the 2-year period, I think we're
we're
probably,
pretty spot on, I think.
if we could get everybody to come once,
Yeah.
we'd hit it, right?
Yeah.
Come once in 2 years, we'd
I don't
be
know if it's
okay, right?
realistic, but that would be lovely, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know
I don't
either.
know either.
Okay, I'm thinking if I stop sharing right now, this is gonna save, right? Kate?
Yeah, because I mean, if you look at 8% of the population, it's 163 people. So I mean,
Yeah.
so 100 people may not be. I mean, that
So
would
I'm
be
gonna-
that's our target.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take out the 218 figure here,
Okay. Yep.
okay? We're gonna assume West Hampton is recent figures too, whatever.
So from
Mm.
Southampton, does it want our total population or just the senior population?
It says older than 60 reside in each of the communities served was the
Okay.
question.
So yes, so it's 2,043 for us and 630.
Right. So 5% of 2673.
133.
Yeah, okay. So I think we're okay with our goal number. I think that's fine.
Yeah, if we're 5% and not 8%, so it's somewhere between 5 and 8%. So the
I
number,
think
Right.
the question
But then-
is what towns and how many seniors are each in those communities. So I don't know how specific we
Okay.
have to be about like speculating about.
Yeah,
yeah, I think that was at a different place. So
Yeah, it was. But for that question, I think you
Yep.
answered it very well.
I'm gonna stick it down a little bit further here somewhere. So before I lose it, come back, where to go, right here somewhere.
Yeah, that's the question.
I mean, so yeah, if you base on the 5 to 8%, yep.
All right, so. Okay, so if I stop sharing, Kate, this is all gonna stay there, right? Should, I hope so.
Yeah.
I think so. Or if I close it up. All right, I'm gonna
Want to
get out
print
of.
first?
No, that's okay.
Want to hit print first,
That'll-
Chris, or no?
It'll be
No,
fine.
no, I'm just gonna get,
Because I have it
I'm gonna get
online.
out of Google Docs.
Yeah, I'm online
I
with it.
wanna leave. Well, I think I am too.
Yeah,
As
you
far as I
are.
know, I'm in Google Docs.
Yeah. So I am
So,
too. It was easier for me to read it than the projection screen, so.
okay, so I think it should, last edit was seconds ago made by Kate, so did you just add something? No?
Oh,
All right, I'm gonna get out of this, so I'm gonna stop sharing. Pray tell, this is all here.
I sent an email to myself of the whole thing, so if it gets deleted somehow, we'll have a copy.
Okay, so let's talk reality here and logistics now. So we've got to do a lot of tightening up here. So I think homework wise, we're just going to see if we could get something confirmation, Joan, from Westhampton about their wanting to join in on this, because I think that's important to
An
show
email.
the commitment, partnership, whatever they can tell us. And the idea that, we would try to be doing monthly sessions to start with, but maybe increase if the interest were greater and we had the resources to do it. And then we're going to check in with whatever these sources are for potential evaluations from whether it's Tufts or Hamden or anybody that's done one, to see if we can talk about how consumer satisfaction is measured. I guess that was the question, something along that line. Okay, so where to go from here? Today is Wednesday. It's due Monday night. We are not technically in town hall on Fridays, but that doesn't stop us usually, given the way we've been going. So, Joan, what is your thinking in terms of timing here? I know Rini said that she would be glad to join in, but she can't do anything before Saturday. I certainly would
I don't
dedicate
want to wait till Saturday. My best scenario would be to start taking this information, putting it into the actual document and getting it out by 3 o'clock tomorrow. That would be my first choice. A lot of work was done today. A lot of work was done yesterday. That would be my first choice. That's what I can provide for you. If people feel it's not ready, I would have to pass the mallet to somebody else.
So Joan, before you submitted it, I think the people on this call would want to review the changes on this document that you would make and say, this is what I'm going to submit.
All right. I just know from last time I did it, it's an active document. It's hard to share unless you're sending it to Highland Valley.
That's why you need to do it on this document first. That's what.
Okay.
That's why it's on Google Documents. Then you're cutting and pasting into your online document.
So if you,
I mean, once we put it in Google Docs, once we tidy this all up and take out all the spaghetti thrown against the wall here, and make real English out of it in some of these thought processes we had, we can pull it out of Google Docs and just make it a Word document that you can work from in Word and cut and paste from Word into your online document. You don't want to be entering your online document just from scratch. You want to be cutting and pasting from a Word document is our experience anyway, because it just takes too long to do it the other way. Um,
So can you tighten it up tomorrow morning, Joan, on the Google Docs, and people can take a look at it?
I would be glad to do that.
And does it have to be shared through your email address, or can anybody else log into Highland Valley and submit on Southampton's behalf, or does that have to come from?
I have no idea.
Cause that might be something if we were, okay, I
I think
understand
it
what
should
you're saying,
come from the COA director. That's what I think.
but my thought would be, here's a question, because with, frankly, they're kind of crazy to make this due on a holiday,
It's a
number one.
ridiculous timing, yes.
I mean, it's really not, we can't do anything about it, but it's not a great time for them to have made this as a due date. Assuming that people are gonna be, wanting to be gone for a long weekend, right? So if we could get you to do everything you can possibly do on it, I kind of would wonder, I mean, I know we're both, Kate and I at least are running ragged on a couple of different things here and wouldn't have a whole lot of time except until, late Friday maybe, or sometime Saturday morning to double check where we put in here. But the question is it possible for, say, I don't know, Janet or Nancy or somebody, or with Kate or me, to be at the senior center and use your computer so it thinks it's coming from you on Monday, for example? Would that work, do you think?
If you have keys to the system, I'll be glad to give you my key. I have a password. I can give you my password. I just don't, why wait until Monday on the holiday when I really think it needs to be finished and sent.
I just want it to be good quality and not, so it just depends on how much you can put together tomorrow. So if you want to commit to doing something by noontime tomorrow for us to look at?
Sounds great.
Yeah, I mean,
All
yeah,
right.
it's been a group effort, so I would want everybody to see.
I mean,
And
Diana's our real grant writer, quite honestly, and she's the world editor wordsmith. So given that she's not been able to be here today, I don't want to cut her out of the process. If you want our help, if this is enough help for you, then that's fine too. But if
You've
you
been
want
wonderful help. I couldn't have done it without all of you. I really couldn't have. I mean, there would never be anything close to this. So I really want to respect that. I don't want to wait till Monday and have somebody else submitting the document. And we'll look at the last, because of the other grant, you had trouble submitting it. But I just don't feel, why come in, open the building, put off the alarm, come to my computer, pretend that you're me. I don't know I don't understand that part of it.
Does
So
it have to be submitted through email or is it submitted through,
It's Wi-Fi. I think it's through Highland Valley's grant website.
Yeah.
but if it's through their website, why do we need to do it from her email?
No, it's from her computer.
Probably
that's it.
not.
Maybe not. We may not.
What is if we go to the actual RFP on Highland Valley, hold on.
Yeah, maybe check that while we're talking about the strategy. No, my only thought, just because I know Rini said that she would be very glad to help on it, I doubt that Nancy's got time to look at it too much more, tomorrow too. So I didn't want to, sideline them. But so I just know that only, Rini's for sure only got some time on Saturday. That's what I know from her schedule. But
Yeah. And I don't think that's fair to Rini. I don't think it's fair to you. I think it's, it's something that we've had 2 months to do. Maybe we feel like we've only done it in 5 days or whatever, but I think it's a lot more involved than the last one that was sent. I think it has a good potential. Nothing is a sure thing, no matter what.
sure.
I also think it would be a total bummer if we put in all the effort and then didn't get awarded the grant,
Tell me about it. I've been there.
right?
So I guess the commitment. Joan, what do you have on your schedule tomorrow?
Flow is in. I have this.
Okay, so can you dedicate your morning to tweaking the Google
Yes.
Doc and wordsmithing and giving Diana. When do you think Diana could wordsmith it, Chris, at some point? I know she's here, but she's not here, so. It's hard to commit for Diana's time, but yeah.
I
Diana-
can try for 10:30, 11 o'clock, get it out. If it gets
Okay.
back to me by
Yeah.
1:30,
You don't have to
2
get it out.
o'clock.
You just have to fill in the Google Doc and everybody has access to it. So you don't have to do anything, but.
all right, so somebody else will commit to sending it.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying.
Oh, so you know what? I'm looking at it right now. Do you want me to do a screen share?
Sure.
Sure, go ahead.
So can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
It says application form. It says I want to fill in a new form. So I actually think if you're doing it from one computer, I don't think it needs to be sent from a particular computer. And then you
Okay.
go to the confirmation. I mean, I can't fill it out right now, but I don't think
Right.
it would be dependent on filling it out from Joan's computer.
'Cause it's
I
Okay.
think it's like it's kind of like what the forms you're used to, Chris.
Yep. Does it require a hard signature anywhere, like Joan's signature anywhere?
It's a great question. I'm not sure, but
Don't see one right.
I don't
there.
think so.
Don't see one right there. Okay, well, let's do this. Let's Joan, let you roll with this until say 11 o'clock, and get it back out. If you can work right in this Google Docs where we were, and make your final changes. We'll take a look at it. I'll commit myself to looking at it after 11 o'clock over the noontime hour here. And if we're generally in agreement that it's good enough, then go for it. Otherwise, myself or Kate or somebody could enter this by the looks. So it's really, just a level of comfort and completeness. That's all. If we think we have answered the right question fully, then great.
the other thing is maybe I'll take I think it would be helpful to break the budget down into precisely what they're asking for and make sure that it lines up with personnel, equipment, supplies, and other.
Right. Well, and just take a look at that second column, FY22 title grant sought. So
It's
we've got the
crazy
total
that
cost.
it
Yeah.
says one fitness class cost per unit $45. Like, how are they expecting you to break down the budget when they only give you 4 lines to
So is that what?
split it into?
So yeah, that's nothing
So
necessarily.
your total cost, for example, your personnel costs. So
So
your personnel cost would be your coordinator person. So that's your $2,400 would be your total cost. We're going to ask for all of that from the grant, right? For example. So you're going to put in 2,400 in the second column, and then the balance of funds is going to be 0.
Well, it'd be for one grant year, so it'd be the 12, right?
Yeah.
per
Good
grant.
point. Good point. No commas and no dollar signs. Yep. Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah,
maybe
gotta-
we can like
Okay.
figure out a way to do that, make this
So
line
your
up
other-
with the Google document. I'll see if I can figure that out.
Okay, so then the other, I think, Kate, could be the, I'm hoping we could have more than 1 or 2 categories, because I'm thinking marketing is a separate category.
What
And,
happens if you do this?
and
So,
entertainers, you can't do it online, I'm sure, yeah.
well, you could do explanation of cost.
Yeah, that's what you have to do under the other.
Over
yeah.
here, so this would be your coordinator and whatever, but equipment and supplies doesn't really cover your vendors and lunches and entertainers, that's what I'm saying.
Supplies could be refreshments. I don't know. It's kind of weird wording.
Yeah, I know. And so equipment is kind of not as relevant,
Craft supplies.
right? But like
And
if-
it says identify and explain a 25% minimum cash or in-kind match required. So they're expecting us to kind of say up front that we're going to cover at least 25% of that.
So if it's a $4,000 grant, we're gonna provide 25% of that somewhere.
Right.
So $1,000 could be from in-kind donations, either for food or for refreshments, for craft supplies.
Right. I think
Okay.
we just need to know that we're gonna have to break it down somehow. So I'll try to see how to better spell that out in the Google document. It's just really hard because you can't do that. You can't make that table.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would just use the Friends, or even if you do 500 from the state formula grant and 500 from Friends.
I don't know if we can use the state formula grant to play against another grant. I'm not sure about.
Okay, so I mean, put $1,000 from the Friends, and then we'll, if we.
And
figure out-
500 from donations or something like in-kind donations or
In
something.
kind,
Yeah.
yeah, 500 and 500, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be good. Okay, so the plan of action would be to have you work on this as much as you can get done with the Westhampton and the evaluation, plus filling in the blanks here. And then we'll be looking forward as of 11 o'clock and have a couple hours to read through it and make any further comments or edits.
The other thing I'll do is I'll pull out the idea lists because that's not going to be part of the application. It's just, I thought it'd be something good for us to start collecting for when we
Yep.
have to do this presentation of our project.
Yeah, I think you could make another list for that, Kate. I don't want to
I
lose
will.
that. So just make another document, but any of sort of this extraneous information, maybe you could pull out, so it'd be easier for Joan to go in and really,
Yep.
narrow it down and make her response very clear rather than,
And sorry, I meant to say that up front, but unfortunately I got tied up for like 20 minutes.
no,
I was
no.
gonna say, like,
No,
this
that's
is just, from feedback and from some, looking
Right.
at some other memory cafes across the state.
right.
Do
No,
you
that's good.
want to put everything in black instead of purple, just so we know it's the definite,
Yeah,
what we're
for
gonna
sure. Yep.
use, or?
Yep, I will do that. I didn't know if Joan, I didn't know if you were working on a whole separate list of things.
I was trying to, I went in as green. After I saw you were purple, I started working as green, but I was like, whoa, she did so much of it, so.
Sounds
Anyway.
good. All right, well, I think we'll call it
Thank
quits
you.
with that. So thanks for all your input, and obviously this ended up being longer than I thought it would, but so be it. I think, Kate, we don't have a quorum anymore, so I think we're gonna have to forego the minutes. And we don't, next
I
time,
was so ready.
next time, promise. How soon, just a piece of business, how soon would you want to do a meeting on the park grant? Can we give it a break for a week here and?
Yes.
Okay. Let me just look. So today's the 26th. How about June 9th? How's that? 2 weeks from today.
Joan, I think you can leave, if,
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Have a good day. Talk
All
to you
right, thanks,
tomorrow.
Joan.
okay,
Thank
have a good
you.
night. Have a good night, Joan.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, so just as our last piece of business. So Kate, 2 weeks from today maybe, and we'll have some working on the parks grant. Does that sound okay to you?
Sure.
So I'll set it up for June 9th, I think it is, okay? And
Okay,
our real
sounds good.
our focus will be the park grant, okay?
Okay.
And the
Thank you.
minutes.
I just want to thank you and Diana,
Yeah,
and,
Kate. Kate.
well, I met you.
Oh,
Meaning you and
Us is-
Kate.
us
I'm
is-
sorry. Chris and Kate and Diana. You was a collective you, sorry.
all right.
For
sounds
your help
good.
on
And I
this.
really didn't mean to, I kind of just started writing notes last night. And so, yeah, I'm sorry. I just kind of kept
There's
going.
no stopping you when you get started. I know better. No, it's great. Thank you very much for your help.
Good.
I'll take a look at it later and we'll see.
Okay.
I'll try to make it a little bit neater
Yep.
for Joan to work on it tomorrow morning.
Sure. And I think, we'll see, how things are. But honestly, if we've got some reservations on it, I don't think there's anything wrong. I'm not opposed to, working on it Friday night and submitting it Friday night if we had to. I mean, I just want to, let's do a good job on it. We
I
worked
agree
hard.
because I think what Joan, the biggest argument is that it's really hard to get your foot in the door. And so I really feel like this is a good opportunity to get your foot in the door. And so
Right.
I'd hate this rush to jeopardize that
I know.
getting our
It's
foot
just-
in.
unfortunate timing in terms of a holiday weekend. of
I
all
can't
things.
believe they would have the dedeadline.
I know, it's
Memorial
kinda
Day.
I have
weird.
another audit that I'm working on at work right now, due on the 31st. I'm like,
There must be
Jeez.
Sure.
something about it. People just never
I
looked
think
at the
people
calendar.
forgot that it was a holiday when they set the deadline.
I think so too, yeah, so, well, good, guys, so I think that's it, I think, I'm gonna just, Kate, I'll take a motion to adjourn, and,
I'll second.
we'll move forward with being adjourned, I think, so thanks, Janet.
Yep, I just want to know if the bike is going okay. The training wheels are off.
Yeah, he loves it. Oh, so yeah, this was like a secret hidden agenda
did the
because I had a
meeting go?
funeral to go to. So yeah, Christopher loves it. We got him a new